Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Neil, and it's time to talk Ahsoka, who might just be my favorite Star Wars character, period. Which makes it a little surprising that I haven't gotten to this yet. But the fact is I wanted to wait until the channel was up and running before tackling this series. As much as I wanted to see it when it first came out late last summer, I restrained myself, put it out of mind, and now the time is ripe. I'm going to watch this, probably going to binge this over the next couple of days, to be completely real with you guys. You'll get one episode a week of my reactions, but I'm excited to dive into this. I've rewatched my season 4 of Rebels to refresh my memory about exactly where we are at the end of that series, because the teaser trailers for this show certainly indicate we're picking up from there. But yeah, I'm excited to see more live action Ahsoka. I'm really excited to see Sabine and Hera and Thrawn and Chopper and maybe some others that we don't know yet reappearing from their original cartoon forms. And I'm excited to get some more lore, find out maybe what happened to Ezra. And yeah, I'm excited to dive into this. I really am. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into episode 1, shall we? Part 1 of Ahsoka. Very different intro music. Oh, we're getting a crawl. Yeah, to be clear, I know this happens after Jedi. Well, we don't know that for sure, but you feel like this happens concurrent with Mando. Morgan Elspeth. Okay, yeah, so this is after the events of Mandalorian. Still hunting for Thrawn. Right.
Ship approaching.
The signal is an old Jedi clearance code. They say they're here to see the prisoner.
Captain, who are they?
I'm calling their bluff. I want to meet these Jedi.
Well, it's not Ahsoka.
Quite a surprise meeting Jedi out here.
Our existence remains a mystery to most, Captain Hale.
I bet it does. You're no Jedi.
You're making a mistake.
And you, sir, should have surrendered when the Empire collapsed.
This is... yeah. They've got Jedi codes, but they've got Sith sabers.
You're right about one thing, Captain. We are no Jedi.
Yeah. They're stealing Ahsoka's line. So who are they? They're freeing Morgan, that's all we know. So did they work for Thrawn?
Balin, you are true to your word.
Balin.
The Jedi who captured me seeks the map. She knows about Thrawn.
Who is this Jedi?
Ahsoka Tano.
Okay. This is very Lothal Temple. The father, son, and daughter kind of vibe, but just different enough that it's something else. What is she going to awaken here? Turned to ash? What was it? I don't know. It was supposed to be like that. Huh.
Give it to us.
These are like Snoke's guards. They're similar. They're giving off that vibe. Maybe it's just the Crimson. Back in the hole.
Initiate self-destruct.
I shall sit now.
No, you won't. Keep going.
Jedi jump. That's a hell of a blast wave.
Where were you?
I was keeping the ship at a safe distance.
This is the Ho Yang that teaches the young Jedi younglings how to make their sabers, right?
Watch my back.
That is the job of a Jedi Padawan learner. How did you get her to tell the truth?
Let's just say I didn't follow standard Jedi protocol.
Fulcrum, this is Home 1. There's been an incident.
Still Fulcrum. Okay. Fulcrum's still active post the original 3. I always thought it was a rebellion title. They've seen battle.
General Syndulla. It's good to see you.
5 red pips equals general. Good to know.
I'm afraid we've lost your prisoner.
Just like old times.
Unfortunately.
Perhaps one of them was once a Jedi.
What's their connection to Morgan Elsbeth? Star map?
The location of the last missing Imperial Grand Admiral.
It's the map to Thrawn. Okay.
Thrawn. His death was never confirmed.
Yeah.
I started hearing whispers of his return, which led me to Morgan.
If Thrawn survived, does that mean Ezra?
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
So what do we figure? Rebels finished about 3 years before New Hope?
Let's take a look at this map.
We cannot
2
change
years?
the map.
And this is about 5 years after Return of the Jedi? We know Ezra's as old as Luke and Leia, because he was born on Empire
do.
Day.
Well,
I'm not sure she'll want to help.
Mid to late 20s.
she'll do it. For Ezra.
Lothal! Dang, looking good.
Commander Ezra Bridger, who sacrificed himself to liberate our world. Here to say a few words is one of those rebel leaders, Commander Sabine Ren.
Yeah, where is she?
Sabine Ren!
No. What's Sabine up to?
Get out there and say something.
What?
Cover for me. Senator Jai Kell, who will share with us words of wisdom. Senator.
Yep, thanks.
Security, I want a full perimeter sweep.
He's governor again. I love it. Governor Azadi. It's weird because, like, I guess for most viewers of this, they haven't seen Rebels, and therefore they don't know these characters. So we have to introduce them all now.
Suspected 2-1. Commander Ren, do you copy?
Thought you'd want to be there. It's a big day for you, hero.
Yep. Well, you're not wrong.
Did they identify as Spectre 1 and 2?
Stand down, Commander. Sabine?
Is she gonna stop?
No. I like the soundtrack. Oh, such a faithful loaf cat. I love the... Oh, looks so good. Oh man, it's just live action Rebels. I love it. This is the tower. Ezra's old hideout, isn't it? Yeah, there's her old Mandalorian helmet.
Sorry for disappearing on you. As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can. I know your fight isn't over. We're not really family, but you're like a sister to me. And I'm counting on you to see this through. May the Force be with you.
He got the hand to the back of the neck mannerism that they always drew into the cartoon. I dig that. Okay, so she's clearly the apprentice, and the older guy is the master, presumably.
What was this place?
They're acting Sith, but...
An ancient temple built by my ancestors. The Night Sisters of Dathomir.
Oh, she's from Dathomir?
You're a witch. A survivor.
Really?
The Jedi has the map.
Send this one to the planet Lothal.
Ahsoka Tano's former apprentice is on Lothal. You're looking for Sabine Ren.
Alright. Was she ever officially Ahsoka's apprentice? That doesn't feel like that's part of Rebels. That feels post-Rebels. Like, sure, she got some Darksaber training, but that was from Kanan.
Hello, Hu Yang? Still in one piece?
Oh, yes. Well then.
You're gonna want to hear what she has to say.
So what's the bad blood here?
I think I know how to find Ezra.
Her old bunk?
No one would design a map you couldn't read. There must be a key or codex of some sort. Where do you call home these days?
Here.
This ship serves me fine.
Still?
I go where I'm needed.
Not always. Master. Can I take this?
Where are you going?
Somewhere I can think more clearly.
I'm not sure that's a good idea. This isn't just about finding Ezra. It's about preventing another war.
You think I don't know that?
The map stays here.
I've only known one student who built a saber such as this. Balin Skull.
Okay.
He disappeared at the end of the Clone War.
Okay, so he disappeared in Order 66.
The master and an apprentice.
Presumed dead.
That would be my assumption. They will be formidable adversaries. For you alone.
Sabine, you're going to want to hear.
Took the map. So what do we call our Sith apprentice? Balin's apprentice. They make such good props in the Star Wars universe. I just want to put my hands on that and like figure it out myself. Clock wipe. I love it.
I don't understand why things have to be so difficult.
Well, considering your history, I'd say that's expected.
She's still just as stubborn and bullish as ever.
She's Mandalorian. I bet your master found you difficult at times.
If only you knew.
I walked away from him. And the Jedi. Just like I walked away from Sabine.
So she bailed. It feels like a Rubik's sphere. Like it should be able to turn within itself. But if it's just a spherical map... Yeah, I mean, she was there at the Temple of Lothal. The world between worlds. Like, is this triggering any memories for her?
3 faces?
I doubt they're going to go into that in a live action that people... where not everyone's necessarily seen Rebels. Okay. There's a matching symbol. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
This is it.
Elspeth must have been in touch with Thrawn after he and Ezra got punted to wherever they went. If she had the map to that location.
Think I'm going on a trip?
Where's the apprentice? Blondie.
Hu Yang, I need backup now!
Grab the helmet. They don't give us that angle if they don't. Does she have sabers? Yeah. not red, is it? It's like orange. It's like they're not Sith. What? That one. Okay, I mean, not dead, but damn near fatal. We're stopping there? Dave, what are you doing to us, man? David Tennant. Have we seen David Tennant? And I missed him? My first couple of quick thoughts before I dive deeper here, and this is probably just going to turn into tangent after tangent, but my first couple of thoughts as I watch the end credits. Awesome to get more Dave Filoni directed live content. I cannot wait for a Filoni feature. He's done so much to resuscitate the Star Wars franchise despite the sequel trilogy. I hope more of the universe is entrusted to his hands. And I love that he's personally taking this one, which makes total sense. Ahsoka was his creation. Obviously, Lucas had a ton of input there, but since Clone Wars was Dave's, Ahsoka is his too. I love that, Clancy Brown, who, most people, if anyone knows him, he's one of the most recognizable voices in the business. He does so much iconic voice acting. He's, a career character actor. I love that they took his role from Rebels and animated it to look like him, and then gave him the live action version of that character. How awesome is that? There's a loyalty in that Star Wars family that I really appreciate. So that was really fun to see. I mean, it makes total sense. Like, why would you cast anyone else to be Governor Azadi than Clancy Brown? But how cool that that's what they did. I love that. It's very much the same thing they did with Bo-Katan, and they're doing it again, and I hope they continue to do it whenever it makes sense, because there's so many talented voice actors in this universe already, and the more I spend time diving into the voice acting world, the more I realize voice actors are talented actors too. Sometimes it takes some time breaking from that stigma. Well, it's not a stigma, but it's a pigeonhole, isn't it? Anyway, great to see that sort of acknowledgement. Within minutes of this show starting, pretty much as soon as we saw Hera, I realized something that I hadn't considered before diving into this. And that's, this show's walking a really interesting fence, because there's various degrees of Star Wars fans. There's those who love Star Wars but have only seen the movies. They may have seen the movies time and time and time again, but they've never gone deeper than that. And they don't know Ahsoka at all. I don't think they're watching this show. They're those who got into some of the live action TV. Mandalorian was a phenomenon, and a ton of people started checking it out because Mando was such a big hit. But maybe those people, their first exposure to Ahsoka was when she appeared in that episode of Mandalorian where we also met Elspeth. And they don't know any of her history, and they certainly don't know any of the Rebels. But then, of course, there's also fans who are huge fans of the cartoons, Clone Wars, Rebels, and they have all this backstory, and they've spent so much time with characters like Ahsoka, like General Hera Syndulla, like Sabine Ren, like Ezra. And what does a show like this do? Like, how do you introduce these characters to the people that don't know them without boring people that know them incredibly well? It's a really fine line. It's a tough route to walk, and it's hard to know how well they've done. I don't think they did too much to bore the people that know them already. They introduced them fairly organically, I would argue. You know, maybe you didn't need the rebellious space punk music when we first see Sabine on her speeder bike, but I get why you do it. You know, if the hair and the clothes weren't enough of a signal that she's a rebel, you know, let's play the music too. But I do wonder what someone's impression would be of these new characters if you've never seen the cartoons, if you've only seen the live action TV, if you've only been introduced to Ahsoka via Mando. So I'd love to hear, if any of you are coming from that perspective, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, you know, your initial thoughts about on what these characters are about and like. But anyway, my head was in that space for a chunk of this episode, realizing that some of the audience needs to play catch up to where I am as a fan. But there was plenty to keep me occupied while those introductions were happening, because I feel they did a really good job of capturing some of the iconography of the Rebels cartoon, the monument in the center of Lothal, this mural of our of the Rebels, including Ezra and Sabine and Hera. It's not just based on the mural at the very end of Rebels. It almost feels like an absolutely faithful reproduction of it. It may be moderately adjusted, but it's in the style of the cartoon, which is a really cool sort of portal between the two media, between a cartoon and live action. It's interesting seeing characters that we've only ever seen in cartoon form before suddenly take live action shape. And it's tough when not only, you know, it's very much the same as when we first saw Ahsoka on Mandalorian. You know, when we first see Hera and Sabine here, not only are we going from cartoon to live action, but we're also taking a time jump. Somewhere between 6 and 10 years is my gut instinct. I'm sure there's those of you who can tell me in canon how far before, like what the time difference is between like the end of Rebels and the start of New Hope. Somewhere in the order of 2 or 3 years, because I know Luke and Leia are 18 in New Hope, and Ezra's not much younger than that at the end of Rebels, and they're all the same age because they're all born at or around Empire Day. Similarly, I'm sure some of you can tell me exactly how far after Return of the Jedi we are in the Mandoverse, somewhere in the 5 to 10 year range. So yeah, you know, we're, you know, as little as 6 years, as many as 12 years post the events of Rebels. So these characters have evolved. You know, Sabine's no longer a short-haired teenager. She's a grown woman, and she's grown her hair out too. And you know, what's her role exactly in Lothal society now? Maybe we'll learn. But she's still an unhonored member of society. But is she active in the New Republic military? I don't think so. But she's still referred to as commander and all the rest of it. But is that just an honorific, or is that a functional title? Unclear. But my big question is, and I can't be sure. No, I don't have any recollection of Ahsoka taking Sabine on as a student. Sabine did do some Jedi training in Rebels, but that was with Kanan as her master when she had the Darksaber, and this is all referencing something else. But I think it's supposed to be new storyline that we're supposed to be curious about, because obviously that master apprenticeship relationship failed, much as Ahsoka's with Anakin failed. But for what reasons, we don't know. And that feels like that's going to be a story that'll slowly be doled out to us over the course of the series, which I'm totally cool with. But, you know, it wasn't Ahsoka, it wasn't the Apprentice leaving, it wasn't Sabine leaving, it was Ahsoka walking away as the master, which is interesting. And, yeah, very, very curious. You know, what is that history? You know, clearly there's some, I'm not sure bad blood is the right word, but there's definitely some distrust between the two of them right now. And it's always a fun way to start up a team up when there's some bad history between the two main characters. But we're going to get some of that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm curious how much we're going to get of Hera Syndulla, the way Mary Elizabeth Winstead's being put in the credits and such. I have to assume it's going to be quite a bit. And then we have the other master and apprentice of the episode title. I don't want to call them Sith because I don't think that they are, even though there's hints pointing in that direction. It doesn't feel the same. But there's this ex-Jedi, the master, who disappeared presumably during Order 66, probably presumed dead based on what we've identified of their lightsabers, and his new apprentice. But they're clearly working for Morgan Elspeth and Thrawn. So how are are there still Jedi hunters out there, or clearly the old Sith practice of there's only one master and one apprentice doesn't seem to be a commandment anymore. And yet there we are. That's sort of what we've got at this point. I am not worried about Sabine surviving that wound at the very end, primarily because she's a really well-known character, but because we also know Natasha Luborditso, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She was being trotted out at all the conventions and such as, one of the co-stars of the show. You don't kill the co-star in episode 1. So we'll resuscitate her. I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, it's a fun setup. We know that there's a way to find Thrawn now, and with Thrawn, Ezra Bridger, but this dark apprentice has that info now. Do they know how to decode that map? With Morgan's help, presumably they do, so they can go find it. But it's interesting, like Morgan hid the map, I'm presuming. Yeah, Morgan must have hid the map because she's a descendant of the Witches of Dathomir, a survivor of the Witches of Dathomir. So she's basically a Witch of Dathomir. And if she hid the map, she would know where Thrawn is already. So they don't really need it, but did they just need to get it out of Sabine and Ahsoka's hands? In any case, they're working for Thrawn, and they know where he is, if they didn't already. And it's entirely possible Ezra is there as well. But because it's such a time jump from the end of Rebels, why is Thrawn still there? If they know where he is, if the map is recorded where he is, why is Thrawn still there? I'm very curious. I'm intrigued. I'm excited to find out more. So let's do that next week, shall we? Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. I know there's some hardcore Star Wars fans out there. If you guys can correct me when I make mistakes and that sort of thing, by all means do, but please don't give me stuff that would be considered spoilers. But otherwise, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment. Until next week, everybody. Take care. Stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Cheers.